Sawubona, you creative visionary. Igama lam uThembi Telezi, Queen Bringer of Good Hope. Welcome back to Whispers of Wisdom, episode 12. So we get to continue reading. As the morning sun crests the horizon, its rays spilling golden light across the road, Alex's drive to work transforms into something more than just a daily commute. This familiar route, once traveled mindlessly, now pulses with a sense of anticipation and introspection. Today, each mile seems to echo with reflections from his recent retreat, each turn in the road mirroring the shifts within his own psyche. The scenery that rolls past his windows, trees in full bloom, fields bathed in the soft light of dawn, reminds him of the natural cycles of growth and decay he had contemplated deeply in the quiet of the forest. These external landscapes provoke a parallel internal journey. The road stretches ahead, not just paved with asphalt, but with possibilities and the promise of personal evolution. With each passing moment, the drive, which once was a time to gear up for the challenges of a busy day, now becomes a space for grounding and centering himself. It's as if the road is inviting him to pave a new way forward, not just for himself, but for all the roles he plays: executive, father, husband, mentor. Each reflection, each thought that arises is now seen through the lens of his transformative experiences, each steering him towards a future where he embodies the changes he wishes to see. As Alex pulls into his parking lot, there's an unexpected vitality surging through him, a sharp contrast to the mechanical routine of past mornings. Stepping out of his car, he pauses, taking a deep breath of the crisp morning air. The familiar path to the office doors now feel like a bridge between his old life and his new insights. With each step, he's acutely aware of the shift within him, a stirring of spiritual awakening that challenges his traditional non-religious views. Walking through the office doors, everything looks the same. The muted buzz of the conversations, the clacking of keyboards, the occasional laughter from a distant corner. But for Alex, it's as if he's seeing it all for the first time through a clearer, more vibrant lens. His mind races with thoughts of integration. How does one bring profound personal changes into a space that hasn't changed? Can he maintain his newfound sense of peace in the hustle of corporate life? His heart beats with a mix of excitement and uncertainty, tinged with a hesitant joy he's almost afraid to acknowledge. Queen's words echo into his mind, reminding him to trust the process, to allow himself to feel good, hopeful, inspired. Emotions that had become foreign, but now promised a new way of being. At the reception, Alex's assistant looks up, expecting the usual brisk nod or the distracted greeting as he heads to his first meeting. Instead, Alex stops, genuinely looks at her, and smiles. "Good morning. How are you today?" he asks with a warmth that reaches from within his soul. A stark departure from his typical curt demeanor. The assistant, taken aback, hesitates for a moment. This new, gentler version of Alex is both surprising and puzzling. "I'm well, thank you, Alex. And yourself?" she responds, her voice tinged with a cautious curiosity. The warmth in his smile disarms her usual professional reserve, inviting a moment of genuine human connection. Alex senses her surprise, but presses on, encouraged by Queen's advice to embrace and express the new shifts in perception and emotions. "I'm actually feeling quite hopeful today," he shares, allowing a trace of vulnerability to show. "I've been thinking a lot about how we all contribute here and how grateful I am for it. I'm looking forward to making our environment even more supportive and connected." His words hang in the air, a bold declaration of his intent to transform not just his personal life, but also his professional environment. As he walks towards his office, the slight glimpse of joy grows a bit brighter within him. He's beginning to trust his new path, uncertain yet full of potential, guided by the deep inner work from his retreat and the ongoing journey of integration that lay ahead. Seated at his desk, Alex opens his notebook, its pages filled with notes and reflections from his retreat. The quiet of his office stands in stark contrast to the bustling corridors outside, providing him with the perfect setting to forge a path forward. As he contemplates his new insights into his fears and their impact on his leadership style, he begins to understand how his previous decisions might have been influenced by unresolved emotions rather than strategic thinking. He starts to jot down his thoughts, focusing on how his fears of vulnerability might have led him to maintain a distance from his team, possibly stifling open communication and innovation. "Embrace vulnerability as a strength," he writes, underlining it twice. He reflects on how acknowledging his fears could lead to a more genuine interaction with his team, which could encourage them to also share and innovate without fear of judgment. Next, Alex drafts a plan to integrate mindfulness into the daily operations of his team. He envisions starting each week with a brief team meeting, not just to outline the week's goals, but to check in with each team member's emotional and professional load. Create space for mindfulness, he notes, planning to introduce short guided meditations to help his team center themselves and reduce stress. He also considers the practical aspects of fostering emotional intelligence among his team members. He decides to bring in experts for workshops on emotional resilience and effective communication. Train for compassion, he scribbles. Think about how empathy could lead to a more supportive workplace culture. Finally, Alex outlines a strategy to encourage compassionate engagement with work. He plans to implement regular one-on-one sessions with his executive team members, aiming to understand their personal goals and align them with the company's objectives. This, he believes, will not only boost morale, but also foster a sense of individual contribution to a larger mission. Each strategy, Alex writes down, reinforces his commitment to transforming his leadership approach, inspired by the natural growth and decay cycles he observed in the forest. He realizes that just like nature, a work environment thrives on cycles of feedback, adaptation, and renewal. And he is now ready to cultivate this new intention and mindfulness. Alex gathers his team in the conference room, where the buzz of prior meetings has been replaced by a palpable curiosity. Standing at the head of the table, he clears his throat. The weight of his recent self-discoveries grounding him as he prepares to share his new vision. Good afternoon, everyone, Alex begins, his voice more open and calm than usual. I want to talk about something different today, about vulnerability, self-awareness, and how these can transform our work environment. The room quiets down, the team members exchanging glances, some supportive, others masked with skepticism. Alex notices the varied reactions. He sees a segment of the team, about 30% of them giving non-committal nods, a disinterest barely veiled, yet politely masked. They lean back in their chairs, resigned, perhaps to sit through what they expect to be just another management batch. Another group, making up roughly 30%, whisper skeptically among themselves. Here we go again. Another buzzword bingo. One mutters under his breath, doubtful that any real change will come from this. They roll their eyes subtly, already bracing themselves to dismiss the ideas as impractical or just temporary enthusiasm on Alex's part. However, there's also a visible interest from about 40% of the team. This group leans forward. Their expressions, a mix of curiosity and cautious optimism. They exchange interested glances, genuinely intrigued by this unexpected shift in their boss's approach. Alex, fully aware of the mixed reactions, continues with sincerity. I spent some time in a retreat, reflecting on how I lead and how we interact as a team. It made me realize how much our fear of making mistakes or appearing weak can hold us back. He shares his own experience with vulnerability, how it opened him up to deeper insights about himself and his leadership. Embracing our vulnerabilities doesn't make us weaker, Alex asserts. Instead, it opens pathways to genuine connections and innovation because we're no longer spending energy hiding our true selves. He outlines his plan to introduce mindfulness practices in the workplace and to foster an environment where emotional intelligence is valued as much as professional skills. I believe that this can lead to not just a healthier workplace, but also to greater personal and professional growth for all of us, he explains. As Alex concludes, the room's atmosphere is a mix of hesitant acceptance, lingering skepticism, and the budding sense of hope. He invites the team to be open to these changes, to participate actively, and to contribute their thoughts on how they can collectively move forward. Let's try to approach this with an open mind, Alex encourages, addressing directly the doubts and cynicism. We're in this together, and I'm here to support you as we explore these new strategies. As the meeting progresses, a surprising shift occurs. Encouraged by Alex's openness, several team members begin to share personal insights and suggest innovative ways to enhance their work culture. Ideas flow, and the room buzzes with an energy that had been dormant. Conversations about integrating personal well-being with professional efficiency spark interest. And it's evident that Alex's transformation is igniting a similar willingness among many to rethink their work-life approach. However, not everyone is on board with this new direction. Tom, a longtime business advisor and a figure Alex has always relied upon for strategic guidance, remains notably aloof. His arms are crossed, his expression sour. As murmurs of approval ripple through the room, Tom rolls his eyes and scribbles on his notepad. Nonsense. Waste of time. Alex, now more attuned to the nuances of interpersonal dynamics thanks to his retreat, catches these subtle signs of disdain. Their realization stings. Tom's reaction is not just a passive dismissal, but borders on silent defiance. This reaction from Tom, whom Alex considered not just a colleague, but a pillar in the strategic framework of his business, reveals a layer of discord he had never noticed before. The session winds down with many feeling uplifted, but Alex is now preoccupied with this new revelation. The drive and vulnerability he had shared, which he hoped would unify the team, had unexpectedly exposed an undercurrent of dissatisfaction in one of his most trusted advisors. The conversation ends with no immediate resolution, but Alex senses the beginning of a crucial dialogue. As he leaves the room, he feels a mix of apprehension and clarity. The road ahead might be more complex than he anticipated. The day concludes with Alex deep in thought. The challenges of integrating his new self into the corporate environment are now starkly apparent. Not just in aligning company culture, but in maintaining alliances with key players like Tom. The resistance he faces is a reminder of the broader implications of his personal transformation. So, please stay tuned for the next episode of Whispers of Wisdom, where Alex must navigate the treacherous waters of change, both within himself and his company. Will his newfound perspective be a catalyst for growth or a wedge that drives old allies apart? So, now that you've listened to the whole episode, I would love for us to have a dialogue. Dialogue is important. So, in the comments below, please share what you have learned about change. What have you learned about introducing change to a group of people? Maybe in this case, you're not Tom, but you want to introduce change within your family. 30% of the people will be like, yeah, right. 30% of the people will like, okay, not another thing again. Oh my God, this is just a whole lot of hoopla. And then maybe 40% of the people will be on board. Have you noticed situations like this with your group of friends, with your family? If you are a team leader at work, a new manager, have you noticed this? This is change. People are resistant to change. When you introduce something new in your personal life, okay, in this companies, you can't fire people all the time. You'd have a lot of problems with turnover and I've lived it, okay? These are experiences I've actually lived myself, where I've introduced change in family, in my business, with a group of friends, and I've noticed these numbers. They are universal. So please share below. Let's have a dialogue. I think it's important to have a dialogue. It's really important to have a dialogue because we spend most of our time at work and we have to deal with individuals like this. If you're a visionary, you've seen this, you've witnessed this, you've been a part of this. So let's have a dialogue. So now that we're going to have a dialogue and we're going to be continuing with Alex's journey, I hope that you can see yourself through Alex's journey, that there's a lot of change that always must happen in our lives for transformation to happen and for us to grow to the next level. So please subscribe and join us as the story unfolds. Ooh, the story unfolds. Testing the resilience and adaptability of a man on a mission to redefine his life and legacy. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, hit the notification bell, share, okay? It's important for people to understand these concepts because self-leadership is the only way forward. The authoritative leadership styles, this is just going out the window. But if you don't have self-leadership, you are going to be lost. You're going to be a sheep and somebody is going to try to control your mind. So I want you to be like Tom, strong in your masculinity and gentle in your femininity, because we all have masculine and feminine side. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I will see you in episode of 13. Toodles. Bye.